Audio on demand from Vision Christian Media.
Exploring faith and the future. Neil Johnson and Bible teacher Dr. Kameel Majdali.
We've been exploring what is called the culture war and identifying two sides, conservatives and progressives. We've talked a lot about progressives over these last few programs, Kameel. Let's get a focus on conservatives. What does it mean to be conservative, and how do you identify that person?
It's an important question, and yet the answer is not so simple. But I'll try to keep it as simple as I can. First of all, Neil, we are at war, the longest war in our history, but it's not the normal military-style war. It's a culture war. And the massive changes we've seen in society over the last few decades, and from my estimation, not for the better, is a result of this war. Conservatism is a position in crisis because there are those who I would call classic conservatives, and then there are those that are actually neo-progressive conservatives. They would claim to still be conservative, but when it comes to moral and ethical issues, they're in lockstep with the left. And so I want to define conservatism as simply those people who value those values that made the West great. And they are Greco-Roman values and mostly Judeo-Christian values, with the Ten Commandments as the legal foundation of Western society. For these reasons, the West has shined like a star. And it's interesting, as you have on your own program talked about Western civilization and how this subject being taught positively in the universities, it's hard to find anybody or any institution that will do that. It's a war against oneself, actually, because that's who we are. Western civilization is not perfect, but it has shined like a star compared to so many others in times gone by. So conservatism wants to conserve the best of the West, but open to meaningful change that makes us better. So they're against change for change's sake, but they are for change for the better.
And yet, Kameel, we're reluctant as Christian believers to put all our eggs in either basket, whether it's progressive or conservative, because there are risks everywhere on both sides. So as a Christian believer, how do we position ourselves to be able to participate in the culture war debate?
Well, first of all, as Christians, many of us shy away from getting involved politically. I mean, we're trying hard enough to balance our checkbooks and survive our children's teenage years, let alone unravel the riddle of the culture war. And many want to be left alone. But the problem with that stance, this isolationist stance, is actually an emu stance, if I can use that term. We can't afford to ignore this war because it is invading our homes, it's invading our schools, it's invading our public square, and it's wreaking a lot of havoc. This is not something we can sit out. This is more than politics. It does involve family. It does involve our ability to practice our faith without hindrance. It does involve how we conduct our personal lives. It's not going to leave us alone. So if we try to sit it out, we will be overwhelmed by the tsunami. But if we are knowledgeable of what's happening and put to practice biblical and spiritual principles, then we will not only survive, we will succeed in the days ahead. We will literally be on a rock.
Faith and the Future with Neil Johnson and Dr. Kameel Majdali from Teach All Nations. Find articles, videos and podcasts from Dr. Kameel, plus today's and other episodes of Faith and the Future in the Vision app or at vision.org.au.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.